Welcome. My name is Bryson, and I'm the Director of Event Content and Client Experiences here at MIT Technology Review. I'm really excited to be here today to give you guys a sneak peek of your next 2 days at Cybersecure. The best part of my job here at Technology Review is getting to meet and interview all the speakers that we bring to our virtual stage as we prepare for the conference. I am an absolute cybersecurity junkie here and have been like a kid in a candy shop working on this project. My plan for us today is to share some of the insights that I've gained talking to these incredible speakers and give you a bird's eye view of the days ahead. This is our inaugural Cybersecure event, and our timing is good because the situation is bad. Data breaches have exposed over 4.1 billion records in the first half of 2019. And the FBI has reported a 300% increase in reported cybercrimes since COVID-19. Yet, more than 77% of organizations do not have a cybersecurity incident response plan in place. And even if they did, the average organization takes nearly 6 months to detect a data breach, even major ones. Bottom line, this is expensive. Total cost for cybercrime committed globally will reach $6 trillion by 2021. What you're watching beside me now is a live cyber threat map showing the attacks currently underway as I record this video. An average day has about 30 million attacks. We are far beyond asking the questions of if or even when you'll be attacked. The if is a given, and the when, as you can see, is right now. The only question is, are you prepared? That, in essence, is the purpose of this conference, to make you ready, to separate you from the 77% of organizations that do not have a cyber resiliency plan. When we were putting our agenda together, we drew a line at the boom. The boom is the moment you realize you've been breached. Doesn't matter if you figure it out on your own through logs or analytics, or if it becomes obvious because of a ransomware demand. The boom is the breach, the moment you realize it's hit the fan. And our goal is to help you define your cyber resiliency plan for both before the boom and after. The before means what safeguards do you put in place, and both technical and procedural to prepare. And the after is how do you respond and recover. All of the speakers we've invited fall into one of two categories. They're either experts or victims. The experts are really the who's who in the industry, the ones who truly understand how hackers operate and what risks they present. And the victims are the ones who've been breached in the past. Their practical knowledge will really boil down a breach to its essential action and reaction moments. So let's dive into the program. We open with a look at the drivers and impacts behind nation-state hacking. Those actors who work for a government with the intent to disrupt or compromise target governments, organizations, or even individuals. State-sponsored hackers, particularly those from countries like Russia, China, Iran, and yes, the United States, are some of the most dangerous actors in cyberspace. They have access to tools, intelligence, and tactical strategies not readily available to others. They're the ones on the cutting edge, the ones all the others mimic and aspire to be. We have two amazing guests for this opening segment. MK Palmore is the VP and Field Chief Security Officer for Palo Alto Networks. And prior to joining Palo Alto, MK served as the head of the cybersecurity branch for the FBI San Francisco Bureau. He's one of actually many on the program who have cut their teeth in government organizations and now play prominent roles in the private sector. And joining MK is Ben Buchanan, the author of The Hacker in the State, Cyber Attacks, and the New Normal of Geopolitics. It's a book that internet pioneer Vince Cerf said reveals important truths about cyber threats and the role they play in international relations. Next, we have a spotlight. We have a spotlight every day. This spotlight, the Wednesday spotlight, is on threat detection. We're going to look at some of the tools and techniques available to detect threats. We'll take a deep dive into the 2019 Capital One breach and break down its causal factors and the surprising outcomes. The goal here is to give you the information you need to avoid the common pitfalls that have befallen so many before. And we close the day asking, is it possible for defensive technologies to catch up and perhaps even move ahead of attackers? And we'll hear answers from 3 different points of view. We'll start with Elisa Abdullah. She's responsible for protecting MasterCard's information assets, and will give us her perspective, kind of from the financial industry, which is one of the most commonly targeted industries. Aaron Cockrell is the Chief Strategy Officer at Lookout. It's an organization that specializes in mobile security, and he's going to catch us up to speed, or get us up to speed, on the latest mobile attack vectors. And finally, Herbert Lin. He's an extremely accomplished researcher from Stanford, and he's going to talk about the tricky balance between the complexity and functionality of security. Or maybe to put it in more practical terms, what is it going to take to finally get everyone to enable 2-factor authentication on their online banking apps? Now, our second day begins with what I think is going to be my favorite segment, ransomware response and prevention. In this segment, you'll hear the terrifying story of an attack on Norsk Hydro, an attack that threatened the jobs of 35,000 employees across 40 countries. Throughout their ordeal, Norsk Hydro has been incredibly open and candid about their story. And you'll get their story straight from the top, from their senior VP, Halvor Molland. Then we have John Holdquist. And for anyone who's read the amazing book Sandworm, you'll know John as the one who was pivotal in discovery of this incredibly destructive malware and its perpetrators, the GRU, Russian military intelligence organization. So John's going to talk to us about attribution and the challenges of linking specific hacking groups to specific hacks. Thursday's Spotlight focuses on the macro elements of cybercrime. Those are policy and economics. The policy angle is an interesting one, as countries all have very well-defined borders, but cybercrime has none. And so the challenges of policing cybercrime across international boundaries are as really as intricate as they are immense. On the economic side, we take a look at the currency of cybercrime, Bitcoin, and we'll learn what can be learned by analyzing the publicly available ledgers that document every single Bitcoin transaction. And then finally, we close with a summary segment that'll bring it all together for us, building a cyber resilient organization, which features, as you might guess, one expert and one victim. The expert in this case is Edna Conway. She is responsible for security, resiliency, and governance of Microsoft's Azure cloud infrastructure. So Microsoft is kind of a global cloud provider, is responsible for the protection of its hundreds of thousands of clients. And all of that rests on Edna's shoulders. The victim is Jamil Farshi from Equifax. The 2017 breach at Equifax exposed the private records of over 200 million citizens worldwide. Jamil's been a security expert executive at Home Depot, Visa, and Time Warner, to name a few, before he took on the role of locking down Equifax. So together, these two are really going to bring the whole thing together, summarize the entire 2 days proceedings, and truly define what steps must be taken to become a truly cyber resilient organization. Now, before I let you go, let me leave you with just one last thing, the MIT Inside Track. So twice a day, we have quick 25-minute sessions that lean towards the more educational and practical. We call them the MIT Inside Track. And the idea is to give you that sort of campus classroom feel. So each day we have one interactive session and one masterclass. On Wednesday, we start with an Ask Me Anything with our cybersecurity editor, Patrick Howell O'Neill. He has his fingers on the pulse of the industry and is a great sort of collective, unbiased source of information on all things cyber. So come join that session, bring your questions, ask them to Patrick. Then, Eleni Diamanti of Sorbonne University in France will give a masterclass on quantum cryptography. And you'll find out just how vulnerable our current encryption algorithms are to the powers of quantum computing. On Thursday, We start off with Nils Pullman. He's the co-founder of the Cloud Security Alliance, and he's going to host an interactive QA session on security and ethics. And then finally, Carrie Perlson, our very own from MIT Sloan, will give a masterclass on building a culture of cybersecurity within organizations. So not with cybersecurity, yet you have to have the technical aspects down, but this is really a human factors type session. So that's our show. I hope you're now looking forward to it as much as I am. I would encourage you at this point to go explore the event site. Make sure to check out the library where we posted speaker presentations and other materials, and fill in your profile. The site offers the ability for all attendees to connect with each other. So take advantage of the opportunity to meet some of the people facing the same challenges that you are. With that, I'm Brian Bryson. I'm the Director of Event Content and Experiences for MIT Technology Review. And on behalf of the entire MIT Technology Review team, thank you for joining us for this event, and we hope you enjoy the show.